Hello there. It looks like France is faring far worse than the UK ever did with regard to trade deficits. Firstly, please subscribe and like this video to give my channel a boost. And I'm always uploading new content, so please do check back every day. And a big thanks to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. Emmanuel Macron must be crying in his lager right now. Not only are both the French and EU vaccine programmes in disarray, but France has just posted huge trade deficit numbers for 2020. French economic analyst Nicolas Meilhan tweeted out an image of the statistical table and said, "France has probably beaten a sad European record, the worst trade deficit that a European state has ever recorded, €82.5 billion in 2020. I really have a hard time understanding why the reduction of this record deficit is not the national priority." And that is the combined trade in imports and exports inside and outside the EU, and an increase on the €74.7 billion deficit they had in 2019. Then consider that in 2019, while the UK was still a full member of the EU, our overall trade deficit was only £30 billion in comparison, or about €34 billion. But the tale of the numbers gets worse for France. In 2020, France had a trade deficit with the other EU member states of €107.6 billion. This was partially offset with a trade surplus it had with the rest of the world of just over €25 billion. Whereas in 2019, the UK trade deficit with the rest of the EU countries was £79 billion, or in the region of €89.3 billion, while France had an even higher deficit with the other EU countries of €110.5 billion in 2019. And France is meant to be one of the big boys in the block, and it's being hammered in trade. Then take a gander at the Germans. They have an overall trade surplus of €182.4 billion. Admittedly, they had a small deficit with the other EU nations of €12.5 billion, but that is more than offset by their trade outside the EU, which attracts a surplus of nearly €195 billion. And on a sobering note for the French President Emmanuel Macron, Ireland managed an overall trade surplus of €21 billion, and Italy, that took such a beating over the pandemic, still came up with an overall trade surplus of €63.6 billion in 2020. And when looking at trade between EU countries, the Netherlands comes out as the clear winner with a trade surplus of €170.9 billion, although it has a sizable trade deficit with the rest of the world of €103 billion. Anyway, these figures will not help Macron get elected next year, and it will very likely increase Euroscepticism in France and boost the chances of Marine Le Pen ousting Macron. Anyone for Frexit? So what do you think about the French economy? Please share and comment below. And if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell, or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it by following the link in the descriptions box below, and support me on Patreon or PayPal. And thank you for watching.